Every day, video games are becoming an increasingly more popular source of entertainment. This is great for the industry for many reasons. The bigger the industry, the more customers, and the more customers, the more games you can play. However, a side effect of this is that over the years, games become easier and easier, leading to games feeling less rewarding. A great example of this is the new Super Mario Bros. Series. When a game isn't challenging, it takes a lot of the fun out of it, making it boring and repetitive. It also doesn't help when they practically make the same game 4 times. I find it interesting to compare older games like Mega Man and Ninja Gaiden with newer games like Breath of the Wild and Detroit Become Human. The older games focus on gameplay first and foremost, where the newer games have a lot more emphasis on storytelling. But as the gaming industry evolves, companies begin to dumb down the difficulty to accommodate newer players. But in recent years, there have been quite a few games that break this trend. Examples include Cuphead, Dark Souls, and of course, Getting Over It. All of these games come from different genres, but that doesn't stop gaming journalists from comparing them. Even with all the differences in gameplay, art style, and everything in between, these games are all connected by one major thing. And that major thing is the difficulty. So please bear with me as I take a deep dive into Getting Over It. It's not the end of the world, because we're not back at the beginning. Now here's the part where it cuts to me falling in the beginning. And then I get sad. Huh. Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy is an indie game released in 2017 by Bennett Foddy, the same guy who made QWOP. The game was inspired by another game called Sexy Hiking, a game that was made by Jazzuo in 2004. Where other games might start with a cutscene to introduce you to the world of the game, Getting Over It starts with a man waking up from his pot. This guy's name is Diogenes, based off the Greek philosopher, but I'm gonna call him Pot Guy. The goal of the game is never directly explained, but I think you're able to figure it out. You have to get over it, but that means a lot more than just a game title. So the goal of the game is to climb up a mountain, and then up a building, and then up a slide, and then up a... yeah, we get it. With only a hammer. Because of this, your movement options are very limited. Using your hammer, you could climb, use it as a pogo stick, and swing it around like a dumbass. The game doesn't have a saving feature. Well, actually...
Don't worry. I'll save your progress, always. Even your mistakes.
So you can't save scum to beat the game. Every mistake you make is permanent, causing you to think about every little move. Then you fall. That's when one of two things happen. You could choose to leave the game out of anger, to give up, wondering what could have been. Or, you can keep trying, working hard to achieve something only 6% of people have achieved, learning from your past mistakes and going against all odds to overcome the challenges that will be thrown at you. But that choice is up to you. But if you do choose to continue, areas that seem impossible at first become simple and easy. Even though you lost all your in-game progress, you keep the practice and experience from your earlier attempts. There's something really interesting I've only ever seen in this game. Every bit of progress is extremely rewarding and it keeps you playing, but all the happiness that gives you can easily be taken straight back. Once you fall, you have to do everything you've gone through, but again. And it's made either 100 times better or 1,000 times worse depending on what Bennett Foddy says about it.
Oh, you just lost a lot of progress. That's a deep frustration.
So I've talked about the gameplay, but the level design and Getting Over It is one of the most important aspects of the game. You can have a 10 out of 10 game, but if the levels suck, the whole game will be worse because of it. In Getting Over It, there are no levels. It's a connected map split into 3 stages, each of which having fan-named sections. Examples include the Devil's Chimney, Slide Skip, and Orange Hell, the last of which being appropriately named. I find it crazy that even in a game as difficult as this, there's still difficulty progression. It all starts in stage 1. There's a few obstacles, but nothing too out of hand. At the end of section 1, you have to overcome the Devil's Chimney, which isn't too hard. The very first obstacle in section 2 is already the hardest part you've seen up to that point. You have to climb up a nearly completely vertical building, followed by the slide skip, a long metal beam which you have to climb across. This section is fairly safe, as falling down takes you to the beginning of the section. After that, you make it up the slide, go through boxes, and finish off section 2 with Orange Hell. A section that could very well be one of the hardest sections in the game. You have to do this jump. So section 3 starts with a church. There's not really anything interesting here. Oh my god! After that, you have to deal with a pretty cancerous anvil jump. Hey, look, a present. Oh my god! After that, you have to jump off a bucket and a rope. Hey, what's that thing? I think it's safe to say that in section 3 the game's done playing. With jump scares, and a snake, you'd think you're as good as dead. But if you keep trying...
And if you don't ride the snake...
You could make it to the top. Wait, are you fucking kidding me? Getting over it teaches you to get over losing. You need to, or else you'd quit far before reaching the top. You need a certain mindset to play rage games like Getting Over It. Without it, well... yeah. Some say the difficulty in Getting Over It is artificial, but I strongly disagree. The difficulty is interwoven within the very concept of the game. If you could save anywhere, the game wouldn't be as enjoyable. Getting Over It takes what difficulty means and changes it. Hell, a lot of elements of the game make it look easy. Some could beat the game in barely over a minute, and all the average person has to do to beat the game is think about every little move.
Or watch a YouTube tutorial.
But in practice, that's just not the case. Getting Over It reinvents challenge to a fantastic degree. It takes what we know about hard games and completely changes it, and then makes it even harder. Difficulty isn't just thrown in as an afterthought, it's designed within the very concept of the game. But what happens when you take the difficulty away from Getting Over It?
You get this.
Challenges of Hill Climb is a game so unbelievably boring that it becomes unbearable to play. I've played so many uninspired, boring, low-quality mobile games over the years, but this has to be the worst, just because of the sheer level of boredom this game makes me feel. It takes the ingenious concept of Getting Over It and replaces the difficulty with spinning your finger around in circles. Fuck this game. In the end, Getting Over It is a game like no other before it, except for maybe Sexy Hiking. Getting Over It is great because having a challenge is rewarding. Games that hand you the win end up feeling hollow, and I think that's a whole lot worse than getting mad. But I guess that's for you to decide. If you enjoy these kind of videos, please show your support by hitting the like button and leaving a comment, as it helps to spread the reach of the video. With that, I'm out.